Right, children. So today we're going to discuss the fourth phase of project management life cycle, that is project execution. Right. So execution means normally we actively do the thing, right? So that is called execution. So here in project also, in project execution phase, what we do is we do the things as we plan. So using in previous lectures we discussed how we can schedule or plan our project using work breakdown structures, Gantt charts, and everything. What we do, we plan the project. After that, in this phase, what we're going to do, we are going to execute those. We're going to do them, right? We are going to complete the activities. So then in the project, this is the real important activity. Actually, this is the time that we are going to materialize the project, do the thing, right? Okay. So when you break down the project into smaller milestone, right? Again them to the team, start the work, collaborate, and reach the end goals of the project, achieving objectives is belong to this project execution phase, right? So this phase is really important because similar to other, here the time that we're going to do the project, right? Yeah. So we're going to discuss in this lecture what are the things that we should aware, what are the strategies to follow, and what are the challenges like that in project execution phase. What we should do, that is what we're going to discuss today. Again, children, if you have any questions, if you have to ask anything, if you need further explanations, please ask, right? Okay, everyone. Similar to the scheduling phase, project planning phase, here also we must prepare a document. So this document is called project execution plan. So this is somewhat similar to the project scope statement, where we're gonna prepare with the project schedule. But here we are not going to include all the details. Right? This is kind of a summary of that. So we're gonna clearly state our goals, objectives, and milestones, then our procedures, time schedules, budgets, and those things will be there in this document. So a project execution plan is a document used to define how you will execute a project, how you're going to do that, right? Our plan of running the project, doing the things is going to be included in this PEPO project execution plan. Right. So in the project execution plan, there are some major topics that we should include. So it doesn't mean that only these are the things that we should include in the project execution plan. So these are the main components, right? Other than that, you can add more depending on your requirement, right? Okay, children. So then we're going to discuss what are the things that we should include. First one is project scope. So we'll see what are the things come under this project scope. So the first one is a statement of work to define the role and responsibilities of the project team. So children, in our project execution plan, we must have a clear definition or understanding about our team. Who are the available personnel in our team and what they can do and what are the tasks that we have assigned to them. So like that, their roles and responsibilities must be defined in the project scope. Then a list of limitations and boundaries of the available resources. So in order to execute the project, we must have a clear understanding about the available resources or resources that we need to execute the project. So in that case, we must include the available resources and the limitations we have to achieve those resources, we must list them and we must plan how to acquire these resources to our project on time. Then children, all potential deliverables, not just the final one. So that means in a project, there can be multiple deliverables. That deliverables means what we gonna deliver to the customer at the end. So here this means not actually at the end. While we are executing the project, there can be some stepwise release or stepwise activities that we're going to finish. So when we're going to finish one activity, we must aware what is the deliverable or what is the end result. So each of these activities, these end results must be clearly listed in our project execution plan. Then only we can see that we have completed this activity. Clear? So then that is very important to list all the potential deliverables or potential outputs of the project. Not only the last one, right? All the potential. That means in subtask also there can be things that we complete, right? Then a list of any relevant reports, products, services, or new software developments. Like it's if you use some software tools and some other machineries and everything, so you must list them. Then again, which stakeholder or customer these will be delivered to. So in execution phase, assume that we are going to deliver some content at the middle of the execution. So then we must aware to whom we should deliver this output, to whom we should contact to give this information. Like that, we must have a clear understanding about our customers and stakeholders and what we should deliver to them. Then some criteria to measure success for the project team. So that is really important, children. So every time when we are executing a project, assessing the progress is really important. So we must create a criteria to assess the progress of the project. So that should be conveyed to the customer as well, because they must also aware how they can see the progress. Because in the execution phase, what we're going to do, we are going to complete object by object to achieve our goal. And then the progress or the going forward of the project must be visible to all the stakeholders. So then we must create a plan for that. Okay. So actually these things we learned earlier. So using the Gantt chart, right? Again, using the PERT, project evaluation review technique, we can do that, right? That is why we are preparing those. So the plan will be there in the early stage, but here what we do, by considering those tools that we used earlier, we must monitor the progress. So such a criteria must be developed before executing the project. How to monitor that, right? For example, if you are going to build a house, so acquiring land, then laying foundation, building walls, and complete the roof, color washing. So like that, there can be several objectives. So in our project, we must create a criteria that within 1 month, we are going to finish this one. So that should be visible to the end user, customer. Then after 1 month, they can come and see that we have acquired the land and cleaned it. Then within 5 days, we are going to lay the foundation. So if such a monitoring process or monitoring criteria is there, then after 5 days, the customer can come and see we have finished the foundation. So like that, a monitoring criteria must be included here. Okay, is that clear, everyone? So as I told you earlier, this is also similar, somewhat similar to the first document that we create, the project scope statement. Actually, this is a summary of that. There can be some additional content as well. The most content will have charts and graphs. So the graphs, sorry, tables actually, not the graphs, tables. With those tables, we can fill this task is completed, this is pending, this is the monitoring process, like that. In this document, we are going to have multiple tables to fill while we are executing project. Okay. Next, quality standards. So in our execution plan, we must include how we are going to measure the quality in our project, right? So there we should include define quality standards. So it is very important to define the quality standards before executing the project, children. That is because then after delivering the outputs, customers may complain, this is not up to the quality. Therefore, before starting the project, we must come into agreements. We are going to develop this up to this quality, right? So for example, if you are going to build a house again, that will be similar to, I mean, that is familiar to everyone. That is, I'm taking that example. So let's say we are just going to build the house using bricks and cement, right? So then at the end, when you're going to deliver that, customer may complain, I was expecting that you will be doing this, or you will be completing this with concrete. So they may say this is not up to the quality they expect. That is what happened actually. So children, what we must do before starting the project, anything, right? Any project, with the customer or the stakeholders, you must discuss and come into agreements. We are going to finish this project, and the outcome or the deliverables will be up to this quality, right? So like that, you must come into agreements. So that should be included in the PEP, project execution plan. Quality management, then quality into scope and schedule. So this is what we can do. For the scope and schedules, we must include quality as well. So how we can do that? So now you're going to be the project managers, then you have to do these ones. So have a clear understanding about the facts that we are discussing today, right? So children, again, if you don't understand anything, please ask questions. You can ask anytime. Okay. So integrate quality into scope and schedule. What's that mean? So here, what we do, so quality is actually what we do, right? So we can't measure the quality, or we can't apply the quality after completing the task. So we must apply quality standards, quality procedures while we are executing the task, right? So then what we must do, we must integrate or insert quality standards and quality procedures into our schedules. So again, let's come to that example, building the house. So if you are going to use bricks for walls, then you must select quality bricks, quality items. After building the house, we can't change, right? So the quality we must maintain while we are working. The working and the quality maintenance must go together. Then monitor and control quality, and again review and validate quality. So for these things, these activities, we must have clear plans. For example, assume that it's a large scale building, right? So then related to quality, every week, all the engineers and other supervisors, they will have a meeting to discuss the quality of the project. That is how we're going to monitor that one. So like that, so that plan must be included in the PEP, project execution plan. In every Monday, first week, so every Monday in a week, we are going to have a quality meeting. And supervisors must check the quality of the items every evening. So like that, some statements and things, task must be assigned in the scope to monitor and control the quality. Clear? So that's project execution plan must have quality standard statements as well. A plan to measure, plan to apply quality, plan to monitor the quality, and plan to control it. Right, everyone? Next one, goal statements. So you know what goal is. Oh, in the note, I was unable to change that, right? So sorry, I'll change it later. So however, what is goal statement means? So goal statements are clear definition of milestones, objectives, and goals. Because always every employee or every team member must aware about our objectives. So every time you must refresh their mind. This is our objective. This is our target, right? So then in project execution plan, the project manager should include some mechanism or plan uh, to keep aware the team or the employees about the project objectives and goals. Okay, everyone. So that is what goal statements are, right? The children resource allocation plan. Actually, the resource allocation means so resource not only the materials, machines, and land and those things. So human capital also a resource. Their employees, the team members, that is also resource, right? So then in the project execution plan, you must clearly plan or clearly schedule who are the people available in your team and what are the activities that you're going to assign for them. So when preparing this PEP project execution plan, under resource allocation, you must think of what are the roles of the project team. So what are their role? There can be managers, actually supervisors, there can be ground level managers, and again other workers related to the activities. So like that, the roles of the team, right? That should be clearly listed. Then procurements, that means what we should purchase. That can be again material, machineries, tools, and again consultants. So those kind of things we have to purchase. Again, what type of contacts are required? That is also important. When you are doing, when you are before executing the project, in the execution plan, you must include the contacts you need. So for example, if you are building a house, we may need bricks, we may need cement, we may need sand, we may need woods, then some other materials, right? So then in our project execution plan, we must include all the contacts of these suppliers. Again, backup suppliers, right? If this supplier is not doing it, we must have another contact for that one. So like that, all these contacts also included there under resource allocation. Again, if there are any pre-qualification methods needed, so if some training and those things needed, that is also included, because we must improve our team members' skills. Then some training has to be arranged before the execution of the project or while we are doing it. Then the criteria for selecting contractors or vendors. Then budget. Then policies and procedures. How to measure the performance. Likewise, we must think and include under resource allocation. Actually, how we're going to allocate resources, not only the materials, machines, human resource as well. Then project schedule. So normally we in the planning phase, we make all the schedules like work breakdown structures, milestones, then Gantt charts, right? Those things. So however, in the PEP, project execution plan, we must list the priorities. And again, we must add clear deadlines. So in project execution, children's these we may have to make some changes to the initial plans. For example, in the planning phase, we discussed in scheduling, we discussed the floating time. I think you can remember. So what is floating time? We identified some activities, the non-critical activities can be can be delayed, right? So depending on the resource and environmental conditions and those things, we can delay those things. So like that, we must assign priorities to activities in project schedule phase. Here, right, in the project execution plan, we must list the task and their priorities. So for these ones also, you can use tables. There are different table formats available. Even you can download them from internet. And again, there are several software tools as well. So we are going to learn one as well. So then using those, you can prepare all these tables. Next, children, organizational structure, we must include there. So the PEP needs to consider the operational aspects of the project. So what is operational aspects, children? Operation means the people who are working to control and monitor the project, manage the project. That is operational team. That can be a CEO, project manager, assistant managers, then finance managers, HR managers. So operational aspects mean there are roles, responsibilities, and procedures. So then for one particular project, we must assign responsibilities for each roles, each employee, each team member. Again, we must distribute these roles and assignments to everyone, right? Because then they know this is my responsibility, this is what I do, this person must do. So then they can work together for achieving objectives. So like that, we must create this responsibility assignment list. And again, we have to circulate that with particular team members. So this also must be included in the project execution plan, right? So the project execution plan will be with the project manager. So he is going to prepare that one, and that is a manual for him to execute the project. That will be the manual. Because everything should be there in that document. Even the contacts, even the names, even the responsibilities, even the schedules and everything. Normal children, I think we all have discussed about RSCI chart can be used to plan the role and responsibilities. So children, RSCI chart is this also called responsibility metric. You can see one example below. RACI, R means responsible. A means accountable. Children, give me 1 minute. Okay, so here you can see in the chart, we have a project manager, strategist, designer, front-end developer. So this is related to software development project, and back-end developer like that. So those are software developers, actually labor, and designer also a labor. Okay, so project manager is the uh, managerial position, right? So like that, we're going to list all the roles in the columns as column headers, right? As the row headers, we are going to have the activities. So you can see in this example, create sitemap, design wireframes, create style guide. So those things related to software development, right? However, these are activities to perform. So in this responsibility metric, responsibility assignment metric, we call this one, or RACI chart. So in this RACI chart, as the column headers, we are going to take roles, the positions of employees, and in the left side or the row headers, as the row headers, we are going to take all the activities. And then as the indicators, we are going to put RACI, right? So first one, responsibility. Responsibility means the person who is going to do the activity. That is the responsible person. The person who is actually going to do the activity. Accountable means, so the person which is which has the authority actually, who should answer if there is an issue, right? If some fraud or if some failure happens, the accountable person must answer, right? He is responsible for that. So here the responsible person is the one who going to do it. Accountability is the what we call so however the main person or the person who has the authority over that responsible person, that is accountable. For example, in a school, teachers are responsible for teaching, right? but the principal is accountable for result. Principal is the person who is accountable for the development of the school. But the teachers, they have the responsibility to develop the students, develop their knowledge. Like that. That is responsibility and accountability. In the university, lecturers are responsible for teaching. Vice Chancellor is responsible for your results and your productivity, the employability of yours. That means he is accountable. He is going to sign everything. For your result as well, we are going to mark the result, and the exam branch, the head of the exam branch, is the one who is accountable for result. He is going to sign. They are not going to check the papers, but ultimately the result will be signed by them. If there is any issue in the result, they should answer, not us, right? So like that, responsibility and accountability, right? Right, children? Okay, I think you got the point, right? Everyone, is that clear? You can reply in the chat. Again, please reply in the chat, then I will get to know that you are there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dur. Right. So then consultant means who we are going to contact for advices, right? He is the consultant. So he is going to give instructions, advices, and monitor the progress like that. So those are the consultant. And again, inform means we are going to inform them that this kind of thing is happen like that, right? So for example, in a, let's say, school again, or if the university, so responsible people for teaching is lecturers, accountable dean and the vice chancellors, accountable for your teaching, your learning, and consultant, that can be senate, right? That is consultant because they are going to decide all the syllabus and everything. Senate normally consulted, we call them senate members. Then again, informed. So UGC and all the responsible parties about, they must inform that this batch is now released, that degree is completed. So they don't have to do anything. We can just but they should be informed, right? Okay, that is called RACI chart, or the responsibility assignment metric. Right, children, I need 1 minute. Please give me 1 minute. Okay, children, let's start again. Right, I think you all got the point, right? Okay. Right. The need of project execution. So actually what we should do, or what are the things to do in project execution phase? Now we're going to discuss, right? So earlier we discussed about the project execution plan, right? So as planned in our project PEP, we are going to do those things. You can see the same things are listed here. Resource management, risk management, quality assurance, so like that. So these are things we actually planned there, right? So according to our plan, we are going to do those. Okay, we'll see how we can do it. So these are the things you can see. First one, turning plans into reality. That means we should start work. Plan into reality. We are going to start. Task completion. As we have start them, we should complete them. So second major step is starting activities, then completing them. While we are doing those two activities, we have to manage the resources. As I told you earlier, human resource, machines, land, and everything, right? Then while we are doing the activities, we must assure the quality. Then communication is really important. So while we are doing the task, we should communicate. We should inform the stakeholders. We should inform the what we call accountable people, right? Risk management. There can be some risk like financial risk and again environmental risk. So those kind of risk will be there, right? So that risk you have to manage while you are executing the project. Then change management. What is change management? Normally, while we are executing the project, the customers may request for some requirement changes, right? So, for example, if we are building a house, they may say, we need to finish the land as well, the landscape. And again, they may have to add additional room, right? They may request for additional room. Again, they may request some other accessories for the house. Like that, the initial requirements can be changed at the middle of the execution phase. So you have to manage that because even that customer is requested, we can't do that, right? We must think about the final output and the deadlines and the budget as well. So by maintaining triple constraint, you can accept whether we are going to do the change or not. So then you may need some approvals for that change, request and approvals. So like that, you have to manage the change, right? Whether you're going to do it or do it up to some extent, or you are going to reject the change request. So like that, you have to manage. Then children, progress monitoring. So always you must monitor the progress. Otherwise, we will not know where we are in the execution phase. Actually, this is a timeline. So in the line, we must clearly aware that now we are in this what we call, if it's a timeline, now we have finished up to this point. We have finished up to 50%. We have finished up to 70%. Like that, you must have a clear understanding how the project is going or progressing. So for that, you have to monitor the progress every time. You have to take meetings and you have to ask from supervisors what they have done today. And like that, you have to keep records about that. So you have to monitor the progress. Ultimately, you must ensure the project successful completion of the project. Like that. So these are the main steps. There are some other steps as well. So you can, anytime there is no concrete answer for this one. Answer means concrete design or theory for this one. So these are the main things actually. If you check in the internet, you can find some other activities as well, right? Okay. And then, okay, right, children? Now we will see one by one. The first one is turning plans into reality. So project execution is the phase where project plans we're gonna run or we're gonna materialize the project plans, or what we call make plans into actions, put plans into action, right? So there are say a few things that we must do in this activity. So in this phase, that is the one is team selection, task assignment, and work implementation. So those are the main activities that the project manager has to perform when they're going to start project execution phase. Team selection means the team must contain or comprised of people who have the right expertise to add value to the project with complementary skills. That means the project manager's responsibility or project manager must do is select the correct team members. If you don't have them in-house, then you can recruit, right? So like that, however, you must select or you must form the correct team with required skills to complete the project. That is really important. After that, the project manager should assign tasks to each team. You must complete this activity within this period. You have this much budget like that. Every information must be delivered to the team and their task must be clearly given. Again, children, work implementation. So then team members going to carry out their assigned task according to the project plan and the timeline. So you must monitor and control the activities, right? Okay, so that is how the project manager gonna start the project execution phase. Then task completion is the next activity. So in task completion, the project manager must keep track of activities, the progress during the completion time of the activity. So when an activity is completed, the completion of the activity must be recorded in a proper way. That is really important. So they must get relevant approvals that this part of the project or activity is completed. Someone should approve that, right? So then there are three things we have to consider, right? Three concerns. One is specify completion criteria. So completion criteria means, children, for an activity, what are the things the person or the team member should do, and what is the expected output, whether it is achieved. So like that, you must develop a criteria to define whether this activity is completed or not. Clear? For example, let's say we are writing a book, right? So we are going to write a book. That is a project. So then we can just write the book in papers and complete writing. We can finish it, right? Then the person can say that, yes, I have complete the book. Just up to him. That can be correct because in papers, he has written it. But if we expect that person to complete, they must put a cover page and bind the book and present it. So if we expect the completion up to that point, then the book is not completed. Clear? That is why we should clearly define completion criteria in a project. Because when you're going to perform a task, there can be several levels which seems like we have completed the task. But we look deeper into that activity or into that task, there can be some missing steps to finalize that one. So then the project is not completed, or that part of the task is not completed. Even it seems like completed. That is why we need clear criteria to define whether this task is completed or not. Again, so assume that building a house, if that is a project. So we are going to hand over the project to someone and they are going to build the house, right? Okay. So what they're going to do, they are going to do all the activities, perform all the activities, laying foundation, building walls, roofing, color, washing and everything. They are going to complete. Then they're going to say that we have completed the house. Then we may say, okay. But children, we may not be able to live in a house without furniture. Right? If we are expecting to have furniture as well, if in our definition we are thinking that yes, if they have what they have to do is they have completed the project, that means they have completed everything and with the furniture. You can think like that. But what actually happened? They have only completed the building. So if we have defined that clearly at the beginning, to complete this activity, you must complete the building and again you must furnish the building. If that criteria is defined earlier, then we can check this activity done, the building house is done, color washing done, plumbing done, and again furnishing done. Then only we can approve this is completed. Got it? Because I'm discussing this is really important in a project, right? Project completion. So you can see a form here, event completion form. So what normally managers, project managers do, they normally share this kind of a document, which is prepared according to their project, their requirements. And the person who is assigned that project must complete the project or the activity, the project activity, and fill this form to get the approval for the completion of the task. Right. So this is the criteria. So children, in project execution, this is really important. When you're going to complete the task, you must have a completion criteria. And everyone should submit that or work according to the completion criteria and get approvals for their completion of activities. Next, measure completion criteria. Measure. So it is not enough to just to submit the criteria or the form. Someone should go there and check whether everything is completed. That must be evaluated. Then only the approvals can be given. The team is going to do the activity, then they're going to complete that one, then they're going to send these forms for get the completion approval. Then someone must check their activity, the outputs, deliverables, and if that deliverables are up to the completion criteria, then only that can be considered as a completed activity. Again, children, forced task sign-off is another concern in task completion. So this forced task sign-off means assume that person is we have assigned a person or a team to clean some area as a part of a project. Let's say we are going to develop a building. First, we must acquire the land and clean it. So children, we are going to assign one team to clean and prepare the land, right? So we are going to give them, let's say 1 week. Children, what can happen is after 1 week also, they may clear the land completely, but again, they may do some small activities and be in the task. After completion the task also, for some simple things, they may still attach with the task and spend their time with the task. In such situations, the project managers has to forcefully remove those employees or team members from the task. So that is called forced task sign-offs. Is that clear? Task completion. So this is a really important phase, important point. Completion criteria and forced task sign-off. Is that clear? If not, please send me, reply me and chat, or please ask. I'll explain again, right? Everyone, are you okay? Children, please reply. Okay. Right. Thank you all. So, right, in task completion or project execution phase, you may have to forcefully sign off some people or teams from attending activities because they are exceeding the given time, or if they are not completing the activities within the deadlines. අපිට නිකම්ම වැඩක් කරලා ඉවරලා හරි මේ වැඩේ කරා ඉවරයි කියලා කියන්න බෑ. මේ වැඩේ කරලා ඉවරලා හරියට මේකට approval එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ මේක check කරාට පස්සේ. activity එක හරි ඔක්කොම complete කියලා approval එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ. සමහර ලාවට වැඩක් දුන්නාම ඒ වැඩේ කරලා තවත් ඒක අතගා ඉන්නවනේ. තව ඉස්සරහට කාලය ගත කරන්න. එහෙම වගේ වෙලාවට මේ කට්ටියව forcefully අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ. Right. That is task completion activity. Okay. Then children, resource management. Resource management is defined as plans, organize, manage, and measure people's work. So not only people's work, the materials and machineries, land, and everything related to activities. Those are called resources. So resource management is a separate topic actually, but in here also we are going to get some idea. So its purpose is to plan, allocate, and schedule the available or required resources as efficiently as possible. So again, this is done in order to maximize each resource utilization. So children, resource management must be done according to schedule. As work breakdown structure, we can prepare a resource breakdown structure. According to the activities that we're gonna perform in the project, we can have a clear schedule of resources. For this activity, in this date, we need these resources. We need these people, this much of people, this much of raw material, these machines, these tools, everything comes under resources. So in resource management is really important and hard activity for project managers because most of the projects may fail due to this unmanaged resources, weakness of resource management. So we'll see there are several strategies to manage resources as well. We'll see what those, right? Actually, under resource management, these are the types of resources we discuss. We have human resources. The team members and stakeholders are the human resources. Financial resources. The budgets and money we're gonna put into the project. The technology, tools, and softwares. Again, soft resources. That means knowledge, information, and skills. So if you are going to get a meeting of experts to decide something, that is also a resource allocation, soft resource allocation. Again, if we are getting some consultancy from a person, expert person for a particular area, then that is also come under soft resource knowledge. Physical space, facilities such as meeting space and office. Then materials, products, raw materials, those things, right? So these are the normal types of resources that we consider under project management. There can be more children, but these are the main ones, right? So for each activity in our project, we must clearly assign and sign off these resources. The most important thing is we must allocate these resources at the time that is required. Other than what will happen? If the lack of resources will delay the project. Okay. Normally in resource management, these are called as core resources. First one is land. So the land is not only the soil. So this land means all the natural resources related to land. That can be land, minerals, forest, oil, water, animals, rain, wind, everything comes under land. Next one is labor. So normally labor is a job position, right? So labor is the one who do some activities, labor. But normally in resources, in resource planning, resource management, labor is all the human sources we have, right? So that is aggregated for persons, physical and mental effort used to generate goods and services. That is labor. So in this case, if we consider the university, vice chancellor, registrar, administration, and lecturers, then non-academics, everyone comes under labor, right? The people or the human who is giving a physical or mental effort for an activity is considered labor. Okay, children, then normally the labor force is determined by the adult population of nation, right? Okay. Then children, capital. So wealth in the form of money or assets is assigned the financial strength of an individual, organization, or nation. It is assumed to be available for development of investment, right? So normally understand what is capital. So capital is the wealth we have for the project, right? So the money that we can spend for the project. Again, the assets we have like office area, tools, computers, and um, the loans that we have taken. So these are called capital. Actually, the amount of funds we can allocate for the project. Simple. So then these three are considered as core resources, the main resources that we need for a project. Actually, not main means these are the three main categories of resources: land, labor, capital. Right? Is that clear? Right. Next, children, resource scheduling. So these are called project resource scheduling techniques. So for resource planning, we can use work breakdown structure, or we can use that as resource breakdown structure, and the critical path method. Critical path method, we need that. Then program evaluation and review technique, PERT. these techniques and tools we use for resource planning to plan the resources. And there is another concern, another technique that is called resource optimization, right? So children, resource optimization means we are going to get maximum amount of resources with the availability. That is resource optimization. Not use all the resources, again, not to use less resources. So giving the resources as it is required. That is called optimization. For all the activities, assume that we are running under amount of resources, right? That's what we can do. We have to optimize that and we have to share those resources among all the activities. So like that, planning and optimizing is what we do in resource management. Before starting the activity, before doing the activity actually, we must plan resources. Then only we can purchase them, recruit human resources, like that. This optimization process we do while we are doing the activity, doing the task. Then we may see for tomorrow we don't have materials. Then you have to get some decision, make some decisions. If you can purchase that quickly, you have to do it. If not, you have to share it with from some other project, or you have to delay the project. So like that, you can have to take, as project managers, you have to take decisions. What you're going to do if you don't have enough resources to work tomorrow, right? So then we have to use these resource optimization techniques for that. We'll see what are these resource optimization techniques, because earlier we have already discussed about resource planning techniques, right? Now we're going to discuss about resource optimization techniques. The first one is resource leveling. We'll see what resource leveling is. For this example, resource is considered as the human resource, right? The people we have. So this description says resource leveling is when the start date and the finish date are adjusted to allow a project to finish with the resource it has. So we can apply this resource leveling technique if we can adjust the end date of the project, right? So this helps to find a balance between the demand and availability of resources and avoid burning out your team. Children, what is burning out? That means overworking, fed up with activities, getting tired, right? That is called burning out. Okay, then project managers use this to allocate tasks with the proper resources, such as team members who is qualified to do the particular job. Children, you can clearly understand this one with this graph. In the graph, this is about, as I told you earlier, this is about resource allocation, human resource allocation. You can see, right? The total hours that they have to work is 40 hours per week. But in the week 2, to complete the given activities or assigned activities, they have to work more than 40 hours in the second week. So we are going to decide this one according to the critical path method. Assume that to start the activity which is scheduled in week 3, we have to finish 3 activities in the second week. Then by allocating all the resources we have, that human resource we have, then they have to work more than 40 hours to complete all the 3 activities. Is that clear, children? Or හරියට තේරුම් ගන්න මේක. This is an example. Assume that we have a project. In that project, we have let's say 5 activities. Week 1, activity A. Week 2, activity B and C. Week 3, activity D. And week 4, activity E. Clear? Okay, let me get a pen. Okay, children, try to understand. Assume that we have a project with 5 activities. So let's say this is activity A. Here we have 3 activities. B, C, and D. We have 2 activities, B and C. And this is D and E. So children, assume that A, B, and C are in critical path. So the critical path A, B, C, let's say an E. Okay. So children, so to start the activity D, sorry, critical path is A, B, D, E. Okay. So children, what we can do, so the human resources we have is what they can work up to 40 hours limit by using all the human resources we have. So to complete these 2 activities within these 2 days, within week 2, our team members, they have to work more than 40 hours. Then they will get tired. They will burn out. Okay. In this case, to manage the resources, manage human resource, we can level this one. Right. So A, B, C, D, and E. But you can see what has happened. We need extra week to complete the activity. This can be applied to other resources as well. Assume that about raw material, to complete activities in this day, in week 2, where we may need additional raw material, right? If we don't have allocated money for that one, if we don't have enough vehicles to bring them, right? So then what we have to do? We have to hire some extra vehicles. We have to work very hard for that one. Then what you can do? Again, you can do the resource leveling. We are going to use the resource up to the given level, and we are going to extend the period of the project. So if you're going to level according to resource, if you're going to do resource leveling, this will happen. This will increase project duration. So children, resource leveling is when the start date and finish date are adjusted to allow a project to finish within the resource it has. අපිට තියෙන resources වලට අනුව අපි start date එක end date එක වෙනස් කරගන්නවා. That is what resource leveling. Okay. Then next one. Again, another example you can see. Here also same. Task A, B, C are on the critical path. Task A, duration 2. Task A, B, and C, right? So this one, and this one. So these are in the critical path. A, B, C. Task A, B, C are critical, so cannot be moved. They cannot be moved. We have to start if they are critical activities. We have to start that within particular given date and finish in the given date. We are not allowed to change the duration if they are in the critical path or if they are critical activity. You already know that. Then children, we can't move these 3 activities. To level up the resource, to level the resources, here what we can do, by keeping the critical path as it is, we can move other activities. So this activity is moved here. And this activity is moved here. So those are non-critical activities. That means they have some floating time as well. Then children, you can see what has happened. So this project is to be finished within 7 days. Days or week. But now when we level the resources, it will take 9 weeks or 9 days. So when we're going to do resource leveling, actually what resource leveling means, we are going to move our activities to level the resources. Level the requirement or the use of resources. Then what will happen? That will increase the project duration. But if we can get some approvals, such approvals like approvals to increase the project duration, then you can go for resource leveling if you are facing any difficulties with resource availability. Actually, this happens to most of the projects. In the university, that building, so also you can see, right? That was supposed to deliver or hand over last year. Still, that is under construction. That is because due to unavailability of resources. In last few years, there were economic crisis in the country, and everything went up. The prices went up. Therefore, they face difficulties in finding resources, raw materials, human resource as well. So then what they have done? They level the resources. They applied this resource leveling technique. then they have get approvals to deliver that building in I think July or August. So however, they have get approvals to uh, increase the duration of the project, and they have leveled the resources. So like that, project managers act accordingly when you are facing a difficulty in resource availability. That can be human resources, raw materials, machines, and anything. Land, labor, or capital. Resource leveling, is that clear, children? Everyone? පැහැදිලිද හැමෝටම? Okay, thank you, everyone. Next, we're going to move to the next technique, that is resource smoothing. So, children, resource smoothing is somewhat different to the resource leveling. In the graph also you can see, again, that is, this graph is drawn related to the human resources. You can see the limit is 40 hours per week. And similarly, this is activity A, C, D, and E. Here, without increasing the project duration, the task or the activities will be smooth. This is A, B, and part of C. D and part of C. E and part of C. A, B, and part of C. D and part of D. E and part of C. So like that, the tasks are divided among the duration and level, or sorry, smooth in the resources. The project duration will not exceed. That is the important thing. Again, one of the project management tool used in resource optimization technique, resource smoothing, right? So here, required used to adjust the activities in a project. Here we adjust activities, ensure that the resource requirements do not exceed the predetermined resource limits. So resource requirements do not exceed. So the level is human resource workable level is 40 hours per week. So here that level is not exceeded. Again, children, this resource smoothing technique is called as time constraint scheduling. Time constraint scheduling. That is because we always think about the time. We have a concern about time while dividing resources or changing activities. We should not allow the project duration to be increased or project to be delayed. So time constraint scheduling is another name for resource smoothing. Since the project finish date cannot be changed, you must best use your resource while staying within the float. So we earlier discussed there are some activities which has floating times. So using floating times, we can adjust these activities, but within the float, only you can change. You can't increase the duration in resource smoothing. We'll see both these together. You can see, children, in resource smoothing, we are going to divide the activities and apply resource smoothing. Here you can see, when you're going to change the activities, the duration will be increased. But in resource smoothing, we are going to fill these places with an activity. So this activity can be moved here. Then that is resource smoothing. So if you have much time to complete the project, or if you can make arrangement to increase the duration of a project, it will be easy for project managers to go to resource leveling. If project duration is to be unchanged, or it is if it is difficult to change the resource, the project duration, then you have to go for resource smoothing, right? There is one other technique that is called reverse resource allocation. This is called reverse resource allocation. So in this technique, we are going to identify using the critical path, what is the project, what is the activity which need resources more. So we are going to allocate resources to the most critical activity. And from there, we are going to assign resources backward. So this tool will not be applicable for all the projects, but some projects, this is also possible. So this tool can be used when specific resources are needed at a certain time. For example, children, if you are building a house, to lay the foundation, we need concrete and metal. Then to build the walls, we need bricks. Again, to complete the roof, we need woods and roofing item. So like that, in different stages, we need different resources. In such cases, we can plan this resource. We can use this reverse resource allocation as a resource scheduling technique. Okay, so that is how we can arrange resources, right? Okay. So up to this point, is it clear one? We are discussing about the activities that we have to perform under project execution phase. So while we are actually doing the project, these are the activities a project manager has to think of. Again, there are more, there are a few actually. So before that, I'm going to tell you a story. So I think you can see a image in screen, right? A person. Children, this person is Edward A. Murphy. So he's an army officer. So in project management, there are two rules that you must aware, not in project management, in life as well. So these are life theories actually, but they will applicable with project execution phase as well. So these are not theories, right? These are just a story that as ice break. Okay. This is called Murphy's law. This is not a project management theory, children, right? This is just a ice break session, and do not study this one, right? This just for your entertainment. Okay. The first law is Murphy's law. If everything runs well, there is always something to go wrong. That is his law. Or there's another version of it. If there is something to go wrong, that will. මොකක් හරි ඒකට කෙලවෙන්න තියෙනවා නම් ඒක වෙනවම. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි අපි හිතන් හිටියත් හැමදේම හරියට සිද්ධ වෙයි කියලා මොකක් හරි එකක් අවුල් යන්න තියෙනවාමයි. පොඩි දෙයක් හරි. if everything runs well අපි මොන හරි කරන් යන වැඩක් කරගෙන යද්දි හැමදේම හරියට සිද්ධ වෙනවා වගේ අපිට පේන්න තිබුණාට කොහේ හරි තැනක මොකක් හරි අපිට බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක සාමාන්‍ය දෙයක් ලෝකෙ. මර්ෆි ඒක තියරියක් විදිහට කියනවා. if everything runs well there is always something to go wrong. කාලක ජීවිතයේ දේවල් එක හිතලා බලන්න වල කරපු වැඩ එක හිතලා බලන්න මේ වැඩේ කොච්චර හොඳට කරලා තිබ්බත් අඩුතරමේ කෑම එක හරිය නැහැ කියන්න හරි කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. නැත්තම් පොඩි තරි තැනක් අපිට මිස් වෙලා බැරිලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි මොකක් හරි වැඩක් කරගෙන යද්දි ඒ වැඩේ ඇතුලේ තැනක් තිබ්බොත් අපි ඕක නම් අවුලක් වෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. මේක වැඩ කරයි මේක කැඩෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. මේක නෝට් වෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි කියලා එහෙම හිතුවට ඒක වෙනවමයි. So if there is anything to go wrong, that will, right? So that is Murphy's theory. So in your life also you can have this as a theory. So every time what you're gonna do anything, please keep in mind that if everything runs well, there is always something to go wrong. හැමදේම හරියට සිද්ධ වුණත් කොහේ හරි කොනක් තියෙනවා වරදින්න. හරි. There are several other derives from this theory, right? මේකෙන් හදාගත්ත තව පොඩි තියරි ටිකක් තියෙනවා ළමයි. ඒවා නිකන් මෙයා කියපුවා නෙවෙයි නිකන් සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සු හදාගත්තා. එකක් තමයි මේ මොකක් හරි බර දෙයක් බිම් වැටුනොත් ඒක වැටෙන්නේ කකුල උඩටමද. ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ තියෙනවා මොකක් හරි පුංචි දෙයක් බිම් වැටුනොත් ඒක යන්නේ ගන්න අමාරුම තැනටලු. මොකද හිතලා බලන්න ඕනේ මොකක් හරි චූටි පෑනක් හරි වල කරමු බෝලයක් හරි මොකක් හරි බිම් වැටුනොත් ඒක යන්නේ එක්ක පුටුවක් කර නැදක් කරට හරි ගන්න බැරිම තැනට. හරි. ඒ වගේ තව එකක් තියෙනවා මේකෙන් හදාගත්ත. ඒ තමයි මේ ඔයාලා මොකක් හරි දෙයකට පරක් වුණොත් ප්‍රමාද වුණොත් ඒ ප්‍රමාද වුණු දේ වැඩි කරන්න තියෙන හැමදේම සිද්ධ වෙනවා. උදාහරණයක් අපි තුමු කොහේ හරි ගමනක් යන්න යනවා. ගෙදරින් චුට නැගිටින්න පරක් වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ නැගිටින්න පරක් වෙලා ලෑස්ති වුණාම ලෑස්ති වෙන්න වතුර නැහැ එක්කෝ. ඊට පස්සේ කරන්ට් එක නැතුව යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ බස් එක පරක් වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ වහිනවා. කොහොම වෙලා කොහොම හරි මුල චුට්ටක් පරක් වුණොත් ඒ පරක්කු වැඩි කරන්න තියෙන හැමදේම සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එක්ක පාර ට්‍රැෆික් ඊට පස්සේ යද්දි. හරි. ඒ වගේ මේකෙන් ගත්ත දේවල් ටිකකුත් තියෙනවා. So those are called life theories, right? Okay. So one more. Falklands law. Children, this is again really important law. It's a life law actually, but we can we can align that with project management execution as well. Project execution as well, right? So that is when there is no need to make a decision, don't make decisions. ඔයාලට තීරණ ගන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැත්නම් යම්කිසි තැනක ඔයාලා තීරණ ගන්න එපාලු. ඒකට එහෙම වුණාම තමයි අපිට ගොඩක් අවස්ථාවල් ජීවිතේ වරදින්නේ. අපි අනවශ්‍ය තැන්වලදී තීරණ ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා. තීරණයක් ගන්න අවශ්‍ය තැනක් නෙවෙයි නම් ඒක. ඔයාලා තීරණ ගන්න යන්න එපා කියලා කියනවා. කියන්නේ ඒක ගාර්ථයේ තීරණ ගත යුතු ඔයාලා උදාහරණයක් විදිහට කිව්වොත් එහෙම අපි හිතමු යාළුවෙක් ඔයාලෙන් අහනවා නැත්නම් අපි ළමයෙක් කියලා දැන් මේ පාරේ එළවලු ලියපු ළමයෙක් නේද? ඔයාලෙන් අහනවා මේ පළවෙනි පාර ලියලා දෙවෙනි පාර ලියන්න දෙපාද? හරිද? එතකොට ඒ තීරණේ ඔයාලා ගන්න ඕන තීරණයක් නෙමෙයිනේ. ඒ තීරණේ ගන්න ඕනේ එයා. අන්න ඒ වගේ වෙලාවට when there is no need to take a decision. තීරණයක් ගන්න ඕන නැත්නම් ඒ තීරණේ ගන්න යන්න එපා කියලා කියන්නේ. So in project execution also same, when you are working with people, when you are working with authorities, when you are working with customers, then be very careful when you are making decisions, right? Okay. So two theories, Murphy's law and the Falklands law, right? Again, back to the lesson. We have a few more slides to discuss. Quality management. Children, project quality management is really important. We discussed earlier. So actually what quality means, the materials and procedures we do, they must match with quality standards. Right? There are several quality standards. Again, these quality standards can be made with agreements with the stakeholders or the customers. So here it is really important that this is defining quality standards for the deliverables of a project. So when you are going to start the project, you must come into agreements about the quality with the customer about the deliverables, right? So quality assurance measure the guarantee those standards are met. So in quality assurance, what we do, we are going to guarantee that these standards are met in our deliverables. There are 3 steps children in quality management. So actually these quality management, resource management, those are different subjects, right? So I'm just making you aware about these subjects or concepts. Then study further about these concepts is up to you, right? But in project management, what we must learn about the basics of this quality management and project management, right? Sorry, resource management. Okay. I think some other subjects you may have learned them, right? Resource management and everything. So project quality management can be simply defined as a 3 combination of quality planning, quality assurance, and quality control. So there are 3 main steps. Let's see one by one. Quality planning. So quality planning means children, as we discussed in the project evaluation scheduling or planning, quality must be planned. So quality must be planned means we must have a clear plan with steps, with procedures, with rules and everything, how to maintain the quality in our project. That can be applied as procedures, that can be applied as rules, right? That rules also can be implemented. For a example, in some other institutions, right? So normally there are a number of institutions who offer degrees. But in university system, the state university system, there is a rule to offer the degree, you must undergo several examinations. You may have exams. In some cases, for one day, you may have to write 2, 3 exams, right? So to maintain the quality of your degree, that rule is implemented. But there are number of private institutions who offer degrees. What they do, they just get an assignment. Assignment also constructed using ChatGPT or something, or but by paying to someone, by just submitting the assignment, you will get the degree. Then there is no quality there, right? Actually, that is what we should fight against to maintain the quality of education. So in state university, it is what you do. You learn, you submit assignments, you study, you you complete projects, you make presentations, you sit for exams, and it's really a tough evaluation. That is why everywhere your degree is accepted. Okay, so like that, the quality must be planned, right? So what is the level of quality we expect, how to maintain that one, and how to implement that one. That is quality planning. So here this quality planning is just is a document actually, right? So so that quality management plan should include the steps you will take, such as weekly meetings or making your progress against a checklist. In quality planning, you can create a checklist. So you can give that checklist to the team members while you're going to assign the task. So while they are doing the task, they must maintain the quality and they must check. We have check this item. We have purchased the best item there. We have lay if it is a building, the amount of cement and sand that you're going to mix, that is also quality, right? the strength of bricks, right? So those are quality in such a project, right? That quality measures will be differ from one project to the other. So that depends on the project. However, children, when you plan in the project, you must define these quality standards and quality planning. Okay, right. Then after quality planning, quality assurance. Quality assurance is the plan and systematic activities implemented in a quality system so that quality requirements for a product or service will be fulfilled. Children, quality assurance means, so initially we discussed quality must be planned and documented. The activities that team or employee related to the project must follow to ensure the quality is in the quality planning document. Quality assurance means there should be continuous monitoring to make sure that the quality is maintained. That is quality assurance. So quality control means enforce to the project who can access whether not the desired level of project quality is being met. So quality control is applying relevant measures, enforce team members to maintain the quality. So then you may have to make some adjustments if the quality is not met. In most of the projects, in some building projects, right? So some areas may be demolished due to less quality. Again, raw materials are rejected due to less quality, due to quality is not up to the expected level. So that is quality control. So in quality management, you must plan how to implement the quality. You must make sure that quality is being maintained and followed. And quality control, you may have to take decisions and make adjustments to maintain the quality up to standards. So in quality management, then you have to follow these 3 steps: quality planning, quality assurance, and quality control. There is another concern, children, that is called scope verification. So you must aware the difference between quality control and the scope verification. So quality control, now we discuss, is the process of monitoring and recording results of executing the quality management activities to assess the performance and ensure the project outputs are completed. Children, scope is the process of formalizing acceptance of the completed project variables. So I'll explain this with the example like this. Children, see, assuming that we are building a house, right? So we are going to build a house. To build the house, we may have to use bricks. Not may have to, we have to use bricks, right? Okay. Like this, we can build it. Let's say this is a wall, right? So quality means the strength of these bricks and the measurements 4 inch and the cement mix. Cement mixture, the amount of sand, amount of water, the amount of cement, right? Again, the space between 2 bricks. Okay, so like that, those are called quality measures. Quality. The standards. So each raw material, each machine we use must met with the must be met with the quality standards. Scope verification means, children, after building the house, we are going to check whether our final deliverable met the objectives and the goals of the project. That is scope verification. So our final deliverables, whether they are within the scope. We are going to check that. So we must check the quality and we must check the scope as well. So in scope verification, what we do, we are going to check whether we have met the customer expectations, whether we have satisfied the objectives and goals we are stated in the project scope document. So that comes with the final deliverables. The quality comes with the procedures and tools, raw materials we use to develop the project or complete the project. So in your exam also, there may be a question to differentiate quality control versus scope verification, then you should be able to answer, right? So if you need more explanations, more clarifications, please ask. Then children, stakeholder communication, we discussed about communication last lecture. What are the methods and how we can do it, what are the concerns, everything. So children, in project execution phase, we must maintain stakeholder communication. We should keep everyone in one page. That means we should keep everyone in the loop and inform them about the project progress. In stakeholder communication, the important thing is we must deliver the relevant information to the exact person in the required time. To the relevant person, relevant information in the relevant time. So that is stakeholder communication. In a project execution phase, this stakeholder communication is very important. So you can arrange meetings, you can send emails, you can send SMS alerts and everything. You have to follow them while execution of the project. Stakeholder communication. So I'm not going to discuss communication methods again because we have already discussed them. Then children, risk management. So during the project execution, you must manage the risk issues coming. So that can be financial risk, that can be environmental risk, like that. Different kind of threats and risk will be there. So always the project management must try to minimize the risk. So children, there is a word we must discuss here, that is contingencies, right? Or contingency or contingencies, right? So children, contingencies means the situations what we do not expect. Okay. Normally what we do, we estimate the cost for a project and there can be contingencies. So we may leave some amount for contingencies as well. So that is unexpected situations, right? So in risk management, this will be much discussed in detail with you, right? So when an emergency situation take place, a team should be ready to address an issue and make sure that no obstacles derive the project out of track. So the keep the project in the track, you have to manage the risk. So you have to bear the contingencies, the unexpected payments, unexpected burdens. So this also a part of the project manager's role in project execution phase, risk management. Again, next lecture also will be about risk management. That is a separate topic. So you can discuss that in detail in the next lecture, right? Change management. Children, change management is really important because normally in projects, customers always add additional requirements. They change their initial requirements. So then project manager must aware about change management techniques, and they must have a clear understanding about project goals and objectives and schedules. So depending by knowing those, they can think of whether they're going to do the change or not. Right? So in change management process also, there are several steps children you can follow. Normally the customer should request the change, customer or the relevant stakeholder. Then what project manager should do is they must analyze the impact of that change. If we make that change, what will happen? That will, if you do the change, you may have to bear additional cost. You may have to spend additional time, extra use of resources. Those kind of things will be there. Then you must analyze the impact of making the change. In some cases, the doing the change will have the impact to the project goals as well. There are changes you must do, right? You must attend. So impact means here the impact to your plan and the impact to the objectives and goals of the project. Both must be analyzed. If it has a less impact to the goal and objectives and the huge impact to the resources and time, cost and everything, then you can just reject that one. Again, if there is a change, it has a high impact to the goals and less impact or high impact to the plans as well, even though you have to do it, right? So like that, you can analyze the impact of the change. Then you have to get approvals from relevant authorities, from finance, from time restrictions. You have to consider those. Again, from senior people, you have to get approvals. After that, you can implement the change. After making the change, you must review that and report. Because there can be some other adjustments to your plans and schedules as well with the requirement change. So then you must review that one and report the change. So those are the main 5 steps in change management process. So the change means the change of the customer requirements or project objectives, project goals. After that, children, progress monitoring. So always you must monitor the progress, real-time tracking. So for this one, you can use project management softwares. There are several online tools as well. So progress monitoring is really important to complete the project within the given time period. Then in project progress monitoring, there are 4 main types of monitoring that you do in project management. that is schedule monitoring, whether the project is progress with the schedule, change monitoring, quality and the cost. So these are the four main types of monitoring that a project manager should focus on. Four main types, right? So there are so many things. These are the four main types. So project success means, children, project managers must ensure at the end of the project execution phase, the project is successfully completed and handed over the deliverables to the relevant stakeholders. So without execution, project plans remains unrevealed version, right? So to complete to the successful completion of the project, you must follow all the steps that we discussed earlier in the project execution phase. Okay, children, before winding up, two more slides. Common challenges during the project execution. Again, children, in project management or when executing projects, even you have a very perfect plan, still there can be some challenges. So then you must aware how to accept or how to deal with these challenges. The first one is scope creep. Children, scope creep means this happens with the change of requirements. So when you're going to modify a project after getting started, then you may have to spend more time to complete that one. So the cost also may be beyond what you expect. Other than planning, children, following the plan, monitoring and controlling the execution phase is really important to face this scope creep challenge. So what scope creep means? The project will exceed cost, time, cost and time, yes. Scope, cost and time are the triple constraints. So if the scope going to be increased, scope going to be beyond the agreed level, then you have to bear additional time and additional cost. So that is a challenge. Quality control is also a challenge. So you must always implement quality plan into the scope. So it must make a practice. Then only you can control the quality. Other than that, it will be a huge challenge because you will be doing the task. In some cases, children, lot of project managers, they are output oriented. That means they always focus on the output. Then some quality standard may lose. They may not concern about quality standards. They heavily are working hard to have the best output. That is not good, children. Even we had the best output, if we have not follow procedures, follow quality standards, then you will be in trouble at the end. Right? So that is why quality control is a challenge. In some cases, when you're going to follow the quality, you may not be able to give the best output. Right? So there is a trade-off between managing quality and the giving the best output. However, you have to manage that, and that is why project management, the word management word is there. You must monitor and control. Planning, controlling, monitoring should be applied into quality as well. That is a challenge for a project managers, right? Then change request. Clients always want to make changes, right? When you're going to make a project, the stakeholders will give you change suggestions always. So then this is a challenge to accept or deny those changes. So you must have very clear, very explicit experience, a good exposure to understand whether this challenge should accepted or denied. And again, to understand the impact of that challenge to the goals and objectives of the project, and again to the triple constraint of the project. Right? These are really challenging, real challenges that project managers has to face. Okay. One more, children, that is project execution gaps. A project execution gap is a step that we miss to finish while executing the project. So project execution gaps occur when the real-time execution of a project fails to meet the strategy or goal developing during planning. So in the planning phase, we may have planned several things. This step A after B, C, D, E, F, like that. But while the real-time execution, you may miss to complete activity C. Right? So you are completing the project. Then at the end, you will be in trouble with these project execution gaps. For example, assume that you are going to build a house, right? So this is a common example, right? Lay in the what we call lay in the foundation, then build walls. Not only walls, you have to install windows there, then roofing, like that. So in execution, you may miss to install or add windows to the walls. ඔයාලා ගයක් හදාගෙන යනවා ස්ටෙප්ස් එක ගත්තාම තියෙනවා අත්තිවාරම දාන්න, බිත්ති බඳින්න, ජනෙල් දොරවල් දාන්න, වහල ගහන්න. හැබැයි ජනෙල් දොරවල් දාන්න මිස් වෙනවා. ගේ හදලා ඉවර වෙනවා. මොකද වෙන්නේ? So those are execution gaps. In real time execution, you may miss several steps in the plan. Again, there are several potential causes for project execution gaps, ranging from developing unrealistic goals. So you may not be able to achieve the goals in project execution because that is unrealistic. අපිට ළඟා කරගන්න බැරි තැනක තියෙන goal එක. Then execution gap is there. Lacking buy-in from key stakeholders. Children, what is buy-in from? Buy-in means always willing to do the activity and achieve the targets. That is buy-in form. So if you don't have these buy-in form stakeholders, the positive-minded stakeholders, then there can be some execution gaps. Again, stems from competing resources, which includes people, physical and material. So some lacking of resources, people, knowledge, skills. Due to that also there can be some execution gaps. Right. So children, those are the things that we're going to discuss in project execution phase. So things to complete are this. This is actually the project execution. We are going to do the activities. We are going to complete the activities. While completing activities, you have to manage resources. You have to manage quality. You have to communicate. You have to manage change and risk. Then you have to monitor the progress. And ultimately, you have to complete the project successfully. Right, children. So do you have anything to ask related to the things we discussed today? We just discussed about the project execution phase. Anything? Okay, if not, children, we can wind up the session. Before winding up, there are a few things that I should discuss with you. Stay in the session, right? So children, if you don't have further questions, we can wind up. So thank you everyone for your participation. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.